Steelers sitting right atop the AFC North at 9-3. But the question now is Pittsburgh more of a threat or a dark horse? Jason, what do you think?
I think they're still a dark horse, and I feel like for all of us looking at the Pittsburgh Steelers, nobody sits there and looks at them and say, all right, they've arrived, and we really feel like when we talk about the top teams in the AFC, you go Chiefs and you go Bills right away. No one is putting the Pittsburgh Steelers in that category, no matter what they do. They won a game against the Baltimore Ravens. I was here with Dan O. He said, well, you can't win a game with just kicking field goals. They did that. They go out there, they beat the Cincinnati Bengals. Russell Wilson goes toe-to-toe with Joe Burrow, putting up numbers that are career numbers for him that going back to the Seattle Seahawks days. So I look at this team that I'm saying, no matter how dominant they are on defense, the turnovers that they come up with, no matter how many moon balls Russell Wilson throws, there's always that kind of butt stipulation with them, and that's what makes them a dark horse. I'm not saying it to say as though they can't go out there and contend and compete and be one of those teams in the AFC, but right now, no one is looking at the Pittsburgh Steelers in that light because we continue to come up with things that are going to hold them back. We look at something that George Pickens does, and it's just like, George Pickens is a fool. And we find different things to pick and prod at them, and they continue to overcome it each and every week to beat whatever team's on their schedule, from the Commanders to the Ravens to now the Bengals from this past week.
Okay. I've actually never seen a take make less like this is a messy take. Because he's saying, I still think they're a dark horse. And, because no one really believes in this team, this, that, and the third. But they keep finding ways to prove people wrong. And it's like, well, are they a dark horse to you then? Do you think that they're not as good as what they've been able to overcome? Or are you still concerned? Are you talking about just public perception right now? Because the question is are they a threat or a dark horse Super Bowl team according to you? According to you. Do you lack faith? Because he's saying no one is considering them a top contender. They say the Bills and the Chiefs. Well, yeah, the Bills and the Chiefs deserve to kind of get those automatic I can't think of the word, but, the automatic, reference point to be like, yeah, the Chiefs and the Bills. Because we know what those teams have done historically. We obviously know what the Chiefs have done, back-to-back Super Bowl champions. We know who Josh Allen is. And the Steelers, the way how they're constructed right now with Russ, is a newer variation of what we've seen the Steelers be over the years. So it makes some sense that you're going to say teams like the Chiefs and the Bills first. But that doesn't diminish what the Steelers have been doing. And I've already done my multiple victory laps. But again, I cringe at this idea. No one believes in them. No one is saying that they are a contender. I am saying they're a contender, and I've been saying it. So it's just like it's a take like this feels so messy to me. It's like he doesn't believe that the Steelers are actually a threat, but he's kind of just using this vague. People are saying, Dan O said this, and it's like so where's the take then? What is the actual take? I'm all for kind of referencing and talking about what other people are saying. I do that all the time. But then it's like, share what is the reality to you though? Because I always talk about, everyone is saying this, other people are saying that, a lot of people are minimizing this. But this is the way how I view it, and it's like he kind of like sidestepped that a little bit. Like that was just a weird one. And the conclusion is like a dark horse. And no, because then it's like, well, are other teams sleeping on them? Do they see them as dark horse? And the answer would be like, no, because real recognizes real. The Chiefs aren't like, just the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Bills aren't like, just the Steelers. And then that's not happening. They're not like, that's Russell Wilson. I haven't seen him do anything since 20 whatever. Mike Tomlin, he doesn't know how to run a defense. So again, are we talking about like random fans? Are we talking about random media people? Like it's just it just doesn't make sense to me, honestly. I'm struggling with this one. But the Pittsburgh Steelers are clearly a threat. Like, I always thought it was nonsense of like, they got to kick more than field goals. And it's like they've shown to be able to do that. They didn't need the Bengals game to show to be able to do that. When they had Justin Fields as their quarterback, yes. Again, those games no longer matter. Whatever the heck the Pittsburgh Steelers looked like with Justin Fields, it does not matter. It does not matter. It means nothing. May as well compare this Steelers team to what they did last year. Well, they lost to the Bills in the playoffs, so could we expect them to win the playoffs this year? It's like, well, it's a different team. It's a different quarterback, a different coordinator. Like, yeah, differences. So I don't understand the argument as to why the Pittsburgh Steelers aren't a contender. Is it because you think that Russell Wilson is going to just be really bad suddenly? Is that where it comes down to? Do you think that Mike Tomlin can't handle playoff atmospheres? That he doesn't get his team ready, or that he gets outcoached, or right? Give me the arguments. I want to see the arguments as to why you believe that this team wouldn't be able to compete come time playoffs, because that's what this is all about, right? Or can they reach the Super Bowl or make the same? It says Steelers, can they make the Super Bowl? Is what the title at least says. So yeah, they're absolutely a real threat to make the Super Bowl, and it can't be again. What is the argument against it? They've had big wins. They've put up big points. Their defenses have stood their ground. They played well in bad weather. I know it wasn't ideal, and I know they should have played better, and honestly, that was a game that they should have won, but they also didn't just completely crash and burn and crumble like the 49ers. You can't win every single game in every single circumstance. So that's why I still just sit here, and I just kind of keep saying it. Show me the information. Give me the take. Give me the evidence as to why they are not a real threat. If you're going to make a bold claim that a top team in the AFC is not actually a real threat, the burden of proof is on you. Show me the evidence. Give me the reason. Because I don't see it. I do not see it. I know this coach and this quarterback won a Super Bowl years ago, pretty much in a completely different era of the NFL, which is true. Literally different rules. But we're seeing these guys have the experience. They've been around for a very long time. They know what it takes. They know what needs to be done. They understand the preparation. So they don't have that limitation. If this team didn't have that, if Russ never did that, and Mike Tomlin never did that, they didn't have their long experience, and they just kind of put this together, and now they're having some of this success, then it would be understandable. You could conceptually wrap your head around it. I'm trying to think of a more current example of this, and quite honestly, off the top of my head, I really can't. Maybe the Buccaneers last year, not the perfect example, but when they added Baker Mayfield, I know they had a couple already, existing Super Bowl winners with Tom Brady, but there was no real reason to believe, okay, yeah, the Bucs have won some games now. Can they really make a Super Bowl run? I didn't believe it. Again, not the perfect comparison, but again, there's still at least arguments to be made. I just continue to fail to see the arguments why this is a thing. But I do have to point this out as well, because I pointed this out from the opposite side in the past, and this is pretty funny. I mean, it was brutal to find Steelers clips to work with and kind of, build takes off. Brutal. Had to really reach to find these. I was making clips off of little 15 seconds out of it. It's will the Steelers win tomorrow? I think they will. Moving on. Yeah, and it was all right, let's talk about the Steelers. And now I'm seeing Steelers clip, and it's interesting. Very interesting how that's how things are changing around. So obviously someone believes that they're a threat and that they're worth talking about, even if it is just a platform to just kind of air out the doubt about them. But it's hard to imagine that we don't see some crazy stuff this year in the playoffs. Because I believe in what a team like the Steelers can do. I believe in what the Broncos can do, what the Bills can do. To me, the biggest question marks are probably the Ravens and the Chiefs more than anything. Because is Lamar going to absolutely ball out? Yes or no? And are they going to blow their, are they going to come up with a bizarre coaching plan that the Ravens have done? Yes or no? The Chiefs, are they going to get healthy at the right time? They've obviously been struggling throughout this season, but they've still been able to find ways to win. Will they either A, be able to continue that in the playoffs, or B, will they finally like become a complete team and get that offense humming, especially once they get a little bit healthier? Those to me are like legitimate, actual question marks. If the Steelers lose in the playoffs en route to the Super Bowl, it'll just be like, it won't be because of like serious question marks. It'll be like, they just got beat by a better team, or they just didn't play good enough that game. You know, they just didn't have an answer for Josh Allen or something, right? And that's totally respectable. That's totally understandable. When you're not a real threat, it's because you have like real fundamental problems, right? It's not like you just got beat, right? The Ravens were a threat to win the Super Bowl last year. They got beat by the Chiefs. Now that's what happened. They got beat by the Chiefs. So, you know, it is still funny to see us have these weird, bizarre conversations about the Pittsburgh Steelers, and yeah, I don't know. It still just hits different, honestly. I'm yet to really see a truly complete start to finish great take for the Pittsburgh Steelers, where they actually like really like just have like a good, honest discussion and conversation about. The close I got, I think, was actually Greg Cosell on The Herd when he was kind of breaking down what the Steelers have been doing with Russ. I think that was only like, 45-second to a minute kind of like, hey, let's just talk about what the Steelers have been doing to kind of bring Russ to form and have a lot of success with this offense. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Pittsburgh Steelers? Do you think that they're a real threat to make the Super Bowl, or just a dark horse? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.